The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Monday, the 22nd of February, 2016, are currently trading with gold at $1,207.53 an ounce, silver $15.16 an ounce, Texas crude $29.64 a barrel, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at about 436 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1920, the first artificial rabbit is used at a dog track race in Emerville, California. Originally created in 1912 by Owen Patrick Smith as a substitute to live rodents, they were fully implemented in dog racing by 1922 when the Miami Kennel Club in Florida became the first greyhound racetrack to use a mechanical lure instead of live bait. Today in history. In recent news, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has asked a Swedish court through his lawyer to overturn an arrest warrant by a UN panel that stated his stay in Ecuador's London embassy amounted to arbitrary detention. Assange had taken refuge at the embassy in June of 2012 to avoid extradition to Sweden, which he is wanted for questioning over allegations of rape in 2010, which of course he vehemently denies committing and has made the argument that the accusations are a ploy to get him to eventually face extradition to the United States, where a criminal investigation into WikiLeaks is still underway. Ecuador did grant Assange asylum, and as a result of the UN panel warrant, he's arguing that his rights have been infringed upon because he's unable to travel there as a result. Both Britain and Sweden deny that Assange is being deprived of such, though the Swedish prosecutor in charge of the case has stated that she will renew an application to interview Assange. The United States and Russia have announced plans for a nationwide ceasefire in Syria today. It, however, does not apply to the Islamic State and the al-Nusra Front. President Obama did call President Vladimir Putin of Russia today to discuss the terms of the agreement, though White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest did state that this was going to be difficult to implement. The agreement calls for the Syrian government and the armed opposition to confirm by Friday of this week whether they will agree to the ceasefire or not. The United States and Russia have also agreed to set up a hotline to monitor both sides. If the plan is agreed upon, it will go into effect on February 27th. The Lone Star Lowdown is currently looking to fill ad space. So if you're a product or a service that you'd like to advertise with us, feel free to give me a call at 210-363-2257. This has been Rick Rohde with your Lowdown for February 22nd, 2016.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war. I'll be very blunt in my assessment.
Is that we just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
True. Radio.
And we are live this February 24th. This is Truth Exposed here on the Logos Radio Network. I am one of your hosts, Cuddy Rowe.
Marshall Soul.
Rick Rohde. And we are live. As Cuddy said, love being live every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m., guys. Feel free to call in 512-646-1984. Are going to have the lines blaring open for the people.
Please call in if you have any discrepancies as to, where we stand on issues.
Yeah, you got any topics you want to bring up, any issues you want to address, some events that are going on that the media might not be covering, call in, bring it up.
Yeah, and if you disagree, we're not going to start using it at hominem attacks, call you names or anything. We're just going to...
We want to have a civil discussion about the subject matter and see where we come to our conclusions.
Free speech is very much a right we defend and uphold on this, this transmission. So.
Yeah, and you can say anything as long as it's not against, SEC regulations, just no cursing,
Yeah, we encourage, to be civil.
Any ideas are welcome, including those crazy hollow earth and flat earth and whatever you got.
It's cool. Bring it on.
Hey, I happen to find those topics intriguing. Even though I can't say that I agree with them, I just find them intriguing.
Hey, we're open-minded here.
Do have a lot to discuss today, though.
Yes, we do.
Current events have been of course, things are happening nonstop every day. Supposed ceasefires, embargoes, Pope running around kissing a boss and
picking his nose.
Yeah, we covered that last week. Yes, sir.
So much going on, and it's hard to keep up with it. Sure, everyone's keeping up with it at the same time as well. But we like throwing it back to not only history, as y'all well know,
philosophy as well too, right?
But we do like getting into that logic, and
we really got to, because a lot of times people lose sight of that. It's real easy to get caught up in all the stories and the hoopla, and you get sucked back into the fields. We really got to stay away from that. I mean, it feels good to try to go along with things that seem there against maybe the establishment, and maybe they're not really. It's just we got to watch where we're going.
Yeah, definitely have a lot to talk about as far as the logic of where we're coming from, why we call ourselves anarchists, if you will, why we are so libertarian, so freedom loving, that so law upholding, that we believe that no one has the right to aggress on the natural rights of anybody else. It doesn't matter who you are. So we're going to be breaking that down, the philosophy of it, where it comes from as far as logically. I'm not going to get into the origin of words or philosophies too much, but might throw out some names out there. So definitely stay tuned for that. And we're going to be talking about the election. This crazy debacle. I mean, Trump's going to get it. Or it's going to be Trump against Sanders.
You called it a long time ago.
I think I called that a couple months ago.
You think it's going to be Trump versus Sanders?
I called it.
Or Clinton. I think Clinton might steal it.
I see Clinton stealing it.
Yeah.
Because that's what's been unfolding. She's been stealing it.
I think she's been stealing it. But regardless, it's definitely going to be Trump. And I think
the whole thing's rigged to begin with.
I think Trump will even take the whole thing. You called it a long time ago, Rick, and said, he was the most electable.
We're going to go right wing this time around.
Yeah, exactly.
Republican
they can't have another
supposed right wing or supposed left wing, whatever they call them.
They got to keep the duality, the game going, the tennis match going. It's bouncing from side to side to take the blame from. It's not going to work if they do it another Democrat. So they've got to throw a Republican in there and get away with more of their agenda through the Republican side.
I think the only way they'll get one is if they throw Bernie in there, because I don't think Hillary stands a chance against Trump.
Well, I think the Democrats think that what I've heard is that they think Hillary can beat Trump, but I don't know. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
rhetoric. It's just rhetoric.
Political guesstimations at this point. But going to be discussing a little bit of that as far as the principles of it. And is Trump someone that we can confide in? Is Sanders someone that we can trust? What do you guys think about that? Before we get really started on all this, and before we do take our caller here, do encourage you guys to check out logosradionetwork.com. That is the network that is the great network that hosts this transmission, and many others. And they are having a drawing, ladies and gentlemen, for the continued operations for the next year. So definitely encourage you guys to come along to the website, check out the great sponsors here. Central Texas Gunworks, bringing out some wicked gear here for second prize.
Spike's skull lower receiver. 3-dimensional skull where the magwell is on the lower receiver for an AR-15. It's
gotta check it out for yourself. Go to the site. See that. It's amazing.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. And of course, that second prize, Taurus Curve, that nice pistol there that comes with a laser and a light built into it. Sleek, very sleek.
Made
looks like some Mossad creation.
Made for concealed carry.
Yeah. And if you simply give $25 to keep the operations of this network going, you get a My Magic Mud. Great source for getting all them stains and
detoxifying your teeth as well.
Your teeth in your mouth. Yeah. Great stuff. Definitely check that out. A lot of YouTube videos on that, commercials as far as
you can get customer reviews out there looking it up for yourself.
Exactly. And third prize is a vapor kit. In this drawing, a vapor kit could be used if you're a smoker, whatever. They got other
applications, right?
Applications for it for sure. I mean, medicinal applications with they have like a whole array of different little herbs and like other than tobacco. I mean, they have so many different things that you can vaporize,
essential oils and all kinds of stuff.
Right. So that's really cool.
Definitely. And on the website page, we also do have our sponsors down on the right side of the page too. You can also shop with them, but use us as proxies, and help support the network. And we do appreciate that as well.
Oh yeah, you doing any Amazon shopping for anything? Definitely go through the page, clear your cookies, and do some shopping through Amazon. Because you don't even have to get what we're offering here. You can do your regular shopping and support the network. And
I do it. I do it every time I use Amazon now. So I'm glad that link's there, and I can always
use the show as a proxy.
Exactly, and help support the network.
Totally. And of course, all the great non-GMO solutions, storable food, Global Healing Center, detox kits, and great supplements and stuff.
Gold Savings Club, that carrot bar currency. Refer others so you can get paid. Free to join. Go check it out. And of course, you can't forget that Michael Mayer's proven method. No lawyer, no problem. www.howtowinatcourt.com. And of course, check out the great lineup of shows that we have over Logos Radio Network in the archives as well.
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff. Constantly blaring on this awesome. It feels great to be part of this team. To be part of this network. It's really an honor to be able to bring you all information every Wednesday. So, that being said, guys, we do have a caller on the line. I do believe, Chris, if you are still holding, you're live on Truth Exposed Radio. How's it going?
It's great. Thanks for taking my call.
What's on your mind, Chris? No problem. How's it going?
Well, I want to continue what you were just talking about because I heard y'all I've been listening to y'all for a few weeks in Austin, Texas on 89.1, and I donated to the Logos Network after I listened to you last week.
Did it, sir?
I encourage other people to do the same. And is there a way to donate directly to your show, or is it better just to give money to the network?
Yeah, just better to give just to the network. I mean, you're helping us out as well by doing that.
And Chris, we do have a Facebook. If you want to check it, I don't know if you have a Facebook yourself. We are working on a site this year. Hopefully, Truth Exposed Radio goes to the next level, and we start having a site with merchandise and gear and links for great information. But we do appreciate you thinking about us like that in that way.
Yeah,
that's very kind of you.
Do you have the Facebook page now, or are you working?
Yes. It's Truth Exposed Radio on Facebook.
Okay, good. Well, I'm over at Patsy's Cafe, and I'm going to go on my laptop as soon as I get off the phone, so I'll do that. The other thing is, I was with the U.S. State Department back in the Vietnam era, and I quit to help George McGovern, who Bernie Sanders reminds me a lot of him. Different issues, different solution ideas, but the same energy. So I just want to share that with everybody, that this is real similar to McGovern in 72. And that was a very important time, and this is a very important time. So I hope everybody in Texas votes before, by March 1st.
Are you a Bernie supporter, Chris?
Well, I was a Rand Paul supporter and then a Bernie supporter. I've been kind of jumping back and forth, but since Rand's going to be on the ballot in Texas, so you can vote for him, but I don't think it'll have any effect. So
yeah. What are if you could just? I'm curious, Chris, because you seem like a reasonable guy. You got to have it on your shoulders. What would not to put you on the spot or anything like that, but what would be some of the reasons that you feel compelled to vote for Sanders? I'm curious.
Oh well, I was part of Occupy Wall Street in Austin, and he's talking like us. Break up those fucking big banks and so forth, and nobody else is talking that way, and he wants to audit the Fed, which he voted for Rand Paul's thing in the Senate. So he's with us on those issues, I think.
Yeah, Chris, we are going to want to watch our linguistics here. We are on live radio, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, breaking up the banks and all that. Now, as far as all that goes, I don't know if you watched any of the debates much. As far as the Republican and Democratic debates. But Carly Fiorina on one of the Republican debates brought up a really good point as far as over 800 more localized community credit unions went under to bigger banks, to bigger centralized banks. Same symptom of what you're talking about here. It's the banks consolidating on everything and controlling everything. But how is?
Excuse me. Did she say credit unions and banks? Both?
Well, I guess they were localized. Pretty much community banks essentially is what she was talking about. But nonetheless, pretty sure looking up the stats on it, pretty sure local banks have been bought out. Just like major publishing companies and media companies.
Right.
Sorry. So, but to really wrap up that point, we really need to go further and analyze why this consolidation is happening. What is giving these big enterprises that power, that much power? We are coming on a break, Chris. So, do appreciate you calling in, folks. We are coming on a break, so stay tuned.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Am I all right? Yeah, I'm all right.
I want to say it now, but now it's today. Love has been given to grab and enjoy. So let's all grab and let's all enjoy. It's a kiss. I am nothing. There will never
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio, right here on the Logos Radio Network. Marshall Soul, along with my co-padres here.
Rick Rody.
And Chris dropped off the line there. Didn't really get to wrap up with your points on Bernie Sanders, but
one of the points he made was what they sounded
Occupy.
like Occupy, and you know
we talked about Occupy a couple months ago.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You know, that's when I first started getting active, and that's when I actually first met everybody in We Are Change San Antonio down here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was at the Occupy in the Fed.
Yeah, I remember meeting.
Okay.
A lot of people. I remember meeting.
I was at the in the Fed.
Well, we already knew each other.
Yeah.
You lost your flag, and I had your flag.
Yeah, we already knew each other there, Marshall.
But yeah, that's when I that's
we
when
had
I came
relations
along
beforehand.
But I got my feet wet really quick, and I got to see how everything works with these movements, these grassroots movements.
They did not like the idea of free market.
No. They wouldn't let us speak. They wouldn't let us.
They were pushing
they didn't like our signs.
They were pushing the whole social justice thing as far as step back if you're white, step back if you're a male, step forward if you're a woman, step forward if you're overweight, if you're dark.
Yeah, it was strange.
Yeah, those and people in front, you're the most oppressed, and this and that, and this, or we should. Why is there all the only white males speaking, and we should allow other people to speak more?
And the people who were saying that were like white males. I was like, man, get out of here. I mean, some of them were, or they were overweight or something. And,
you wanted to help support a mass minority, but it was just strange how it was controlled.
Exactly.
But, and actually being involved here in San Antonio with the Occupy movement from the get-go, as far as like a week beforehand for the whole planning session, it was held down at the local union building here in town. Not coincidentally, not at
coincidentally.
all.
Yeah, I remember that.
But a lot of sincere people, a lot of people that wanted to bring change, that are fed up with the system.
We all came together, right?
Yeah, that was the intent. We all came together because we were all fed up in our different ways.
Yeah. And sure enough, it became a very much, let's talk to the city council members and ask them for support. Let's try to get involved with lobbying politicians and getting into politics and we got to stick in line with the.
You fell in for the noose, didn't you, there, occupiers?
With the Occupy Wall Street thing, and Cuddy and I have broken down Occupy Economics.
Oh yeah, that was
didn't we?
Crazy.
Oh, yeah, definitely check that out. Do a Google search on Occupy Economics and find their page.
Yeah, their web page, and it has their whole
economic agenda.
They didn't have an agenda before when they first started.
No.
And then they came out with this website to show their agenda, and I think it was written by like a Harvard or Yale student or somebody with
Princeton.
Yeah, Princeton, somewhere up there, and like. If you have common sense and ethics and morality, it's pretty simple to just go simply statement by statement and break it down.
Right. And they were calling for tremendous amounts of
tracking
taxation.
And tracing every single transaction and the markets, everything they wanted to track and trace. Everything. And they didn't want to change really the existing structure we have now.
They even stated, right, the governmental structures and the power
systems. We can use that.
Institutions of coercion that are in place at the time, that they pretty much said in their own words that we don't have to change any of this, that we just simply need to, slight adjustments can be, and they can be used in our favor automatically in some magical way.
It just sounds like
magic dust.
They're just basically saying, we know what's best for you and just let us be in charge. I mean, we've changed. That's what the whole thing is, just a revolving door of this false, these puppets, and we get the same thing every time.
And it's always the promise of attaining either the that ideal perfect past, with Trump's populist slogan, "Make America Great Again," right? Attaining this perfect past that if we could just go back a couple of decades, back to Reagan, we could just go back to the Reagan years, everything was
and that
dandy.
too is some dangerous rhetoric.
And was it dandy in those days?
Yeah.
And then we got
Hitler said that kind of stuff too. Make Germany great again.
Right. So trying to reach to this, this perfect past that never was perfect. Really, I mean that's the conclusion of it all. And then you have people like Bernie Sanders, these so-called progressivists, right?
Progressive towards what? Growing the state,
trying to reach. Right, they're constantly trying to reach this unattainable utopian future. Right, they're pointing towards a future. If we can just change this and change that, and put more people in power and tax more people. Yeah, exactly. Well, that ain't very liberal, is it? That ain't very progressive, is it?
You can't state yourself to freedom, And they seem to have this false reality where you can legislate things and have your your freedom of free things.
They want to force their version of freedom, basically. I mean, it's idiocy.
No, in any kind of society like that, it's not going to last very long before corruption sets in if it hadn't already started. Because usually the whole basis of it is a basis of corruption, control.
Yeah, and that really gets into what is a right. How do you define a right?
Free ponies is a right.
Right? How do we define a right? I mean, this is an eternal question. This is a question that
okay. What are the things they like to say is a right right now? Healthcare,
right?
Education. How about food?
Housing?
Shouldn't food be before all those?
Food stamps.
But, true. But I mean, it's what's next? I mean,
yeah, but you only get food stamps if
I have
you
a right to
follow-
rollerblades.
That's what I'm saying. Free ponies, man. Like, come on, Vermin Supreme.
PS4. It's unfair. It's all these privileged people got the nice PS4s.
Well, I think Obama did have my free
PS2.
internet.
I only have my PS3,
Internet.
man. I want my PS4.
Internet. Obama did say internet, free internet, and they already have the Obama.
Yeah,
phones.
they are promoting that one, right? And through the FCC controlling of the internet, regulating of the internet, they're probably going to get it labeled. I mean, it already is labeled a kind of quasi public good now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a public domain in a sense.
So
dark web. Dark web.
Yeah.
Tell me what you know about that dark web.
Not much, but
so what is a right? What is a right? Let's not leave that one hanging. Let's not leave that one hanging. This is a
What is a
principle.
right?
Well, this is a principle we got to define for the audience now.
Your right is to.
What is a right, ladies and gentlemen?
You have a right to your body.
How do we define a right? Well, sure, you have a right to your body, but why do you have a right to your body?
Because it is yours.
Because you were born.
Because it's yours. Okay. Well, what if your body ends up
bondage?
causing damage to another body?
Oh, well, then you messed up their body, bro.
Well, yeah, but you will be held responsible, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I would argue that a right entails responsibility. In other words, if you have a right to your own body, then any negative consequences that your body causes are thus your responsibility. That is then your right to your body because you're responsible for your body.
So are you going to make me pay to use your restroom or something?
How many times you flush it?
You're my friend, and we ain't in Mexico. Yeah. I'm not going to charge you a penny for each little square of toilet paper, but
all right, we're good then. We're good. I mean, you're gonna hold me to that, dang, dude.
No, but you don't. No,
you wouldn't come to my house then.
Yeah, right. No, what I'm trying to get at, well, you didn't do any damages to me. I mean, that's what restrooms are for. You know, you're invited over to my place to the studio as a guest.
What if you come over here punching holes in the wall?
You don't know what I had for lunch.
No, but so let's analyze it. If that's the case, right? Rights until responsibility. Okay. Well, I have a right to a gun, right? I have a right to a weapon, any weapon, a sword, a knife, a gun, whatever. If that gun, knife, or whatever ends up hurting somebody while it's in my control, obviously,
and
you should be held accountable.
I'm also responsible, right?
Right.
Also, if I don't know. What if it ends up getting dirty, right? You got to clean out your guns every now and then, right? You got to do your routine or whatever. That's your responsibility too, right? I mean, or should I be
just like driving a car?
To have to clean
you got to put oil in it,
right? You got to put oil. You got to put new shoes on.
Okay, so the what we're going through here is that a right is property, which bears responsibility for such property.
There you go. That's probably the best way of putting it. Right is equals property.
And your rights derive right from your property.
Yes.
And you're held responsible for your property.
That property.
For your property.
You can't make other people have to pay for your oil change. You can't make other people pay for your upkeep on your weaponry.
And then I can't go to my neighbor's house and then
force him to do it,
or do whatever I want to do. Say whatever I want to say. I mean,
now we're getting into free speech. Yeah, we're definitely gonna break that one down. Yeah, that's an interesting right for sure. And we'll see how it coincides with property. So
stay tuned. This is Truth Exposed.
Is internet addiction for real? New research suggests it is. In fact, scientists may have isolated a gene responsible for compulsive web use. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, back with details on why the internet can be addictive after this.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This message is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Do you know somebody who's online nonstop, like a child, a friend, or maybe even you? A new study suggests this compulsive behavior might actually be a sign of internet addiction, a condition that may be exacerbated by a single gene. Researchers studied problem web users and matched their DNA samples with people in a control group. They found a variation in a gene that activates the brain's reward system. That's the same receptor that puts out feel-good chemicals like dopamine when we eat, sleep, or smoke. The genetic variant was more prevalent in the internet-obsessed group, particularly among women. But don't just blame your genes. There is some willpower involved, too. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht for StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine.
Looking for some truth? You found it. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We are live this lovely February 24th, 2016, Truth Exposed Radio here. Hopefully you guys are having a lovely evening, a great week with your fam, at your work, at your grinding station.
Wherever you are, by yourself.
Yeah, hopefully everything's gravy. So we were just discussing rights, right, gentlemen?
Yeah.
And Marshall really said a statement that quantifies it, I think, to the most simplest axiom.
Yeah, just to simplify everything. Everything is best broken down and simplified to the maximum. You know, it's rights equal property, which bears responsibility.
There it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rights equal property. So let's we were going through some examples of the weapons. Rights equal property. Well, if you attain weapons legitimately, well, they should, people shouldn't, you're telling me people should be barred from creating things? Tools, mills and lathes and presses, drill presses. I mean, that shouldn't be, that should be decriminalized and regulated.
They don't like the ghost gunner. They don't want to get shipped off anywhere.
Right.
But there's all kinds of CNC machines you can already get. So whatever, we have tools. It's too late.
Right. So then, Cud, you brought up free speech, which then it starts to get a little bit. We have to ask ourselves several questions there. Of course, you have a right to think whatever you want to think.
Sure,
that's your head. Now, when it comes to talking and speaking, can you just say whatever you want wherever you want and continue to do so without
public property? You're supposed to be able to public
property, technically, right?
Well, back it up. If you're able to, you're free to think what you will, but are you free to speak what you think?
On your property.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
On your property, not at my house.
What about print? What about print? What you think?
Well, yeah.
Either on your printing press or someone that agreed to print your materials on their printing press.
But they don't have to be forced
to
print whatever you want them to print. Just like baking a cake.
To allow you to, come in onto their property and tell them
what they have to produce for you, or you have to do for them, vice versa.
Well, then the speech basically boils down to if you're free to say what you want, as long as it doesn't, defame another person or damage their reputation
or their property,
or is it false statement upon another person?
Well, false statements and reputation. Now we're getting into another whole other topic, slander and all that. I mean, it's how you define slander. Because if I criticize, I'm a movie critic, and I criticize a movie, and I say that's the most horrible movie I've seen in my life. Horrible.
That's
acting,
your opinion.
editing. That's my opinion. But
that's slander.
People might consider that slander.
Yeah.
People might say, well, you're affecting my career. You're affecting you're
hurting my business because you're saying it's not good. What I produce, my product.
Right. So it does get into questionable as to can you make allegations about people? Can you say things about people? That's further into it for sure on the free speech thing.
But let's say, I can't technically go. My neighbor doesn't have to let me say whatever
you want on his property.
on their property. If I go to their house and I start saying something they don't like, they have the right to say, get out of here. I don't care.
I remember that time that our mutual friend told me that I had to remove my truck from his
his property because the 911
was an inside job sticker. And so I got into a long discussion with him. Finally, he agreed to disagree with me and left my truck alone.
But he did have the right to tell you to leave.
Yeah, he did. He completely did.
And take your truck off his property. He does have that right.
That's his property. But I chose to discuss it with him in a civil manner.
You worked it out. With him.
And he was just like, fine.
Over a brew.
Yeah. But, anyone does have the right.
It was whiskey, man. After a few whiskeys, man.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, no one cares anymore.
No one cares anymore. Y'all don't get in a fight now.
No. Of course not.
All right.
But, like we were saying, anyone, they do have the right to for any reason, say, get off my property.
That's their property.
Oh, yeah, legit. And we're going to define here what property is properly defined as here in a minute. In case you have questions or doubts as to
we're going down the rabbit hole.
People be allowed to just own everything, right? Can someone just declare the whole world theirs?
And put a fence around the whole world and then say, you get off.
I own this. I'm the Pope. I'm the little horn.
No, we need to actually transform and make it something useful, right? Or
homestead it,
yeah.
Yeah, pretty much in some way.
You build a house, then you can live there, right?
You till some soil, plant a vineyard, plant a farm, build a couple buildings.
An orchard or something, yeah.
That orchard looks good for my cows to eat.
Hey, man, stay away from my peaches.
Yeah.
You're going to have some really healthy cows eating peaches.
And good milk, man.
And pecans. Boy.
Yeah, right. So rights, obviously with rights, we do have to define property a little bit further and get into that. But, with rights concerning ourselves, our body, going back to before getting into actual property, and maybe weapons was the wrong way of me starting that because it led us into more further property.
Other than ourselves. Let's go back to our bodies.
Right. We mentioned thinking.
If you own yourself, you have the right to what?
Well, we mentioned thinking, right? Whatever you want to think, believing whatever you want to believe in your mind and your heart. That implies freedom of religion, freedom of conscience to, be convicted of whatever you want to be convicted of.
Muslim faith.
Yeah.
Catholicism. whatever.
True, right? True. I mean,
atheist.
We may have our complaints
whatever.
about them, but it's your choice, and I'm not going to try to hurt you in any way because of that free choice. That's your free choice. Sure, we can discuss and talk about it, but in the end, that's your personal choice.
I can't force you to think like I want you to think.
I can't force you to
really
like
can't.
freedom.
I could, but I shouldn't. You shouldn't do that.
People try. The New World Order tries really hard. I mean, through deception and mind control tricks and
persuasion,
mass media, persuasion.
Repeat.
Yeah, a word punish.
Oh, and take over the language as well.
You know, Edward Bernays was their star.
Yes, sir. Public relations OG.
The man wrote the book on propaganda, literally.
Right. So going back to personal rights on your own body, how about drugs? Drugs.
No drugs.
Oh, drugs. Okay, well, I guess that would fall under ingesting whatever you want to ingest.
It's your own body.
As long as you don't harm anybody else.
I guess that falls under diet, right? Being able to ingest whatever you feel you want to ingest.
I should be able to do that on my own property, not at your house. You can decide how many IPAs I can have at your house before you say, get out of here. You turn into a monster after 5.
Well, that depends. That depends. Is it one of those big hops bottles? Or
You seen this growler over here? Yeah. Arr, arr. Exactly. But, I mean, that's the way it goes, right? It's my temple.
Yeah, no, so very true. So we can call that the right to diet or the right to self-medication, because not all diet is medicine, and not all medicine is diet, though with the Hippocratic Oath, Hippocrates. Yeah, that OG. He did say, let your food be your medicine be your food. But those two things are different in conceptualization. So, but yeah, nonetheless, we have a right to ingest whatever we want. Dietarily speaking, you shouldn't be force-fed anything. And you shouldn't be deprived of eating what you want to eat. And
even if you are overweight,
medicinally, as long as you're paying for it,
yeah,
and you're not passing on the burden of your
if I'm not paying for your healthcare, it doesn't matter.
Exactly, right? It don't. So we'll leave it under diet and medicate, right? Right to self-medicate, right?
Yeah.
The self
ingest
or right?
Even tattoos and piercings and haircuts.
Oh, there you go.
That'd be body modification.
Yeah, body modifications, transhumanism, right?
Yeah, as long as we're not forced
to.
Yeah, as long as we're not forced.
That is the form of right? Body modification, of course. That if you're paying it out of your pocket,
that's your right.
That is your right.
Not forcing anyone else to pay for it or to partake.
Of course, we have theological positions on all these things. Should we ingest?
We might not agree
heroin.
With it. Yeah, we don't have to agree with it.
Crack cocaine.
If they make it legal tomorrow, are you still going to do it? Like, no. I think they're detrimental to me. Like, that's why I don't. But it's not because
Twinkies every day.
No, it's not, and I don't need the state to tell me not to.
Right.
I just don't. I don't eat them at all. Like, keep your Twinkies, bruh, and your heroin. I mean, but it's your right to do so. So. Just as long as it's not a burden on me, you don't, shoot heroin and then come over to my house and do something crazy. Then it's the actions you did that were crazy.
And that would actually, I think, keep people from making a lot of those choices. I mean, so long as they continue to feel that they have a safety net there that's going to keep them in their addiction, keep them in their state of misery. Well, guess what? Hey, misery likes company, and company costs money.
It's like football players with the helmet on. They go in head first and they get all these concussions, but rugby players don't because they don't have that protection there, and they know not to go in head first and smash their head around.
Easy.
And we are back live. This is Truth Exposed here on the Logos Radio Network. And we were just getting into some nitty-gritty philosophical breakdowns of property, your rights.
Starting with thyself.
You own thyself. We didn't even get to your labor and your time. And you own your time and your energy.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Pretty much, right? I mean, if you own what you put into your body, and you own your body.
Yeah.
You own your mind.
You own what your body does.
Do you own your time?
Yeah. Do you own what your body does? Exactly. Your time and your energy, your labor.
Your labor, yeah. And if someone owns that, then do you own yourself?
Is someone taking away the product of your labor?
Taxation?
Well, no. I mean, if you're making a product and then someone takes that product, or if you're making
a percentage of that product,
or if you're making a product for somebody who then pays you for it, which has been taxed. Well, we're getting way deep into another rabbit hole.
Well, yeah. Well, but you own your time, you own your labor, And no one should have the right to take that from you.
Right. Labor being time and energy, so you own your energy and your time. You have a right to exert whatever your energies towards whatever endeavor you choose, so long as you don't interfere with the endeavors of others and the bodies of others. You have a right to spend your time on whatever you want to do. I mean, so
long as there's voluntary choice in what you do.
Right.
So if I choose to go and work for somebody and say the wages don't seem...
Wait. So now you jumped into work, which actually brings up another point, the next point, the right to contract. If we own our body, we have a right to contract our time and energy to other people.
Yes.
You and I have a right to come together and agree to certain terms or certain services or practices or whatever we may come to agreement upon, regardless if it may seem unfair to somebody else, whatever. Like if I took a lower end on a deal and you took a high end of the deal, we both came to those terms. There's full disclosure.
Yeah.
So
right. A chess tournament, a poker game, right? A bowling tournament. All those are just agreements, contracts. The winner's going to take this. It's verbal or it's written, whatever.
Well, that's different. That's not necessarily the kind of contract I was talking about.
You agree to play the game. So you agree to the outcome.
There's written and there's unwritten. There's spoken and there's unspoken contracts.
So, if I come by, pick you up and decide I'm going to give you a ride to work, and then while I'm driving down the highway, I decide, no, I'm not going to take you to work anymore. I open the door and try to kick you out.
That would be pretty screwed up, Cuddy.
And that's a violation of like an unsaid or an unsigned, contract where I agreed to give you a ride, and then halfway down the road, I decide to kick you out of the moving car, or something. Or even if I stop and kick, it's like,
yeah, that'd be a violation upon Marshall, even though that's your car, and that's technically your property, and you can ask Marshall to step out whenever.
Yeah,
but while it's moving, while it's putting his body in danger. You just can't do that. Now, maybe y'all got in an argument or whatever, and you had to just be like, yo, bro, I'm going to drop you off here at this light or whatever.
Well, then maybe the tables could be turned where maybe he could be causing some interference on my property.
It's a different occasion at that point. I mean,
remember that next time I have to drive your car for you, Cuddy.
No. I mean, these cases seldomly happen, right? These extreme cases seldomly happen.
We're just using examples, yeah.
Right, we're using examples, and we're also talking about when all communication, there's been a communication breakdown. Right. When there's been a communication breakdown, that's when you have violence coming into the situation.
Miscommunication.
Right. That pretty much nullifies whatever contract.
Whatever anything. And when there's a communication breakdown, even not even nullifying contract, if in the scenario we're just talking about, if Cuddy were to ask you to step out, Marshall, at the next light, there's obviously been a communication breakdown where y'all talking about, trying to resolve whatever argument you were having at the moment has failed to the point to where Cuddy's asking you to step out at the next light. Now he's not. Now I would argue he does have a right to. Now to kick you out while he's on the highway, as Cuddy was saying, that he doesn't have a right to. That's putting your life in danger. The other one is asking you to step out. Even though you already agreed to the ride, that's true too. That's another aspect as well. But nonetheless, I mean, when someone asks you to step out of their vehicle at the light, that's pretty much the end of the friendship, or something really bad has just happened. Like,
yeah. Like
communication.
Yeah, because think about it. I mean, there's no way that's just not like going to happen under like some.
Right. And that's what I'm getting at. Is that communication breakdown of situations of violence and confrontation usually don't happen. We avoid that because we have the ability to communicate and to rationalize and to come to some sort of agreement or some sort of compromise or some sort of
mutual
understanding because we can communicate. If we were animals and we were just relying on grunts and territorial, peeings and stains and like smells and whatnot, I mean, it's a little different. But we're human beings. We're definitely rational beings here, and we're.
So being forced to choose between two things shouldn't be right. I should be able to choose neither.
Well, sometimes life gives you a tough choice. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what were you thinking?
Voting?
Well, you shouldn't be forced to vote. That would be.
That's what I'm saying.
I ain't gonna vote.
But then I shouldn't be I don't think I should be forced to have to suffer the consequences of who voted if I didn't partake.
Okay, there you go.
I didn't agree.
There you go. Now you get into the contract and you're using time and energy. So if other people put their time and energy into a contract and they all vote to do something, why should that time and energy and contract amongst them affect you if you don't want to partake in it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Where's the consistency? There isn't any. It's all about feels or what?
It's all about mandatory submission.
Yeah. And
fraternity through the state, my friend.
Yes, sir. Fraternal order.
I don't want to be frat bros anymore.
Yeah, I know, bro. Like, you're making me take too many keg stands, bro. I'm drunk off of statism.
Tax stands.
Wine of Babylon, bro.
Yeah, the wine of Babylon's got me messed up. trying to get my bearings back over here.
Yeah. So that's a very good point there, Cud. That's a very good point.
I can't opt out of that contract.
If other people are forming contracts and agreements and coming together with their time and energy and forming associations, which kind of goes under contract, the freedom of association. This is something we didn't really discuss. Association, you have a right to, mingle and not mingle with the people you want to mingle and not mingle with. I mean, it's quite simple as that. You have a right to contract with the people you want to with, and
whatever
not.
you want.
So if other people start mingling and start contracting and coming to these games and rules and all these, regulations that are based upon a voting democratic process, well, that's their right, sure enough. But why are you getting involved with our lives when we don't want to partake in that? Now, granted, that doesn't mean that we're somehow claiming the right to infringe on the natural rights of other human beings.
No.
Since when did we say that?
We want to just be left alone.
We want to be left alone.
Yeah.
Mind your own business.
And so long as our actions or our property doesn't bear harm upon you or your property, then it should not matter.
But the problem is they need something we have, and they've got to take it by force, but they can't make it seem like it's forced straight up. They've got to give it the illusion of choice.
The illusion of legitimacy.
Yeah.
The illusion of choice. Yeah, of course. Of course, the illusion of legitimacy through no different than the religious institutions that
and
force tithing. Yeah.
A slave works better when they think they're free.
Oh, that's very true. That's very true. That's very true. So we have the right to your time and your energy, the right to contract, to association, to disassociate, the right to medicate, put whatever nutrition you want in your body, whatever diet you want.
Freedom of association.
Yeah, we talked about
contract or uncontract.
Right? Yeah. Freedom to think, freedom of conscience, freedom of thought, freedom of religion, things of your mind, freedom to modify your body if you so choose in whatever way, so long as you don't pass the burden and the cost and the consequences to others. What else we got? That and the body modifications and the time and energy, I would argue also is the right to euthanasia and contract too.
You have the right to
contract. You can
medicate yourself or kill yourself, terminate yourself.
Right? Then you can. Why can't
Dr. Kevorkian? He shouldn't have been locked up.
And the right to contract. And the right to contract. If you have the right to contract with people, then if people want to voluntarily terminate their life through some euphoric experience,
or turn themselves into that human chicken nugget. You seen that? Them nugget people.
I still think about that TV show. That's My Bush. Whenever I hear Dr. Kevorkian, that show was hilarious.
Oh, but
there's demented people out there that, there's that one disease, mental, disease that causes people to chop off their limbs or whatever.
Yeah, they think that, being, transabled.
Yeah. I mean,
it's gross, but I mean, if someone else is going to take care of you or whatever,
if you're going to pay for the procedure, right. If you're not going to force the cost onto me in some way,
you're not going to force me to pull you out that little chicken nugget box and wipe your diaper or whatever.
Or force me to pay for it.
Yeah.
For someone else, some other bureaucrat to supposedly do it.
Yeah, just pay for your groom with a stool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not cool, man.
Not at all, no.
Not cool. Groom with a stool, not cool.
Laissez-faire, live and let live,
Yeah.
Live and let die.
Yeah. If you chop all your limbs off, I hope you got someone to take care of you, Don't force me to do that because you're transabled. And it's just like businesses. They shouldn't be forced to accommodate transgendered people and build a transgendered bathroom.
Just don't do business. We are jumping forward, though.
Yeah, no.
Because now we're jumping into property and the regulation of property. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, the regulation of property, and we'll get into that. We'll get into that in here in a second.
It's a super deep rabbit hole. I mean,
we got the next hour to get into property for sure. I'm trying to let's wrap up individual rights or personal body rights. We pretty much covered. Marriage, the right to love and be loved by whoever you voluntarily choose to do so with. Pretty simple, right? I mean, as an adult,
we don't even need the state in regular marriage. Like, they just need to be mutual contracts.
Oh yeah, we don't need to stay in that. Now, all these rights, and if we miss some, we're sorry. Self-determination, of course, is another one. Whatever goals you want to set for your life, you have a right to set them for yourself. No one has the right to tell you what you should be and what you should do in your life, and that goes with time and energy. But it's just insane. To wrap it up, really, before we move on to property. With owning yourself and everything, it's just, of course, these things come with responsibilities and everything. And I kind of lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, I'm rambling here.
It's all good. We're coming on to a break here in a couple seconds. But
we are coming on a break.
We'll break down the property aspects of it. Right after this.
Oh yeah. And I'm sure this brain fart will pass.
Hopefully, you got some extra gas in there.
You have a right to those too, Rick.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Just don't charge me with you.
Yeah, don't be doing it at my expense.
Coming on to a break here. Truth Exposed Radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio, right here on the Logos Radio Network. Marshall So, along my compadres.
Cuddy Rowe.
Rick Rody.
And I think Rick had finally gathered his thoughts on that subject.
The brain gas.
It passed.
The bubble.
It passed. But before we get to the final point, because that really leads us into property, Cuddy had brought up something here during the break as well, relating back to contracts and associations, is once you form associations and contracts,
you have the right to break them as well.
You do have the right to break them.
And since you do have the right to break them, and people would obviously know that.
There are terms and contracts.
Yes. Terms and conditions.
Hence, you buy a car and it's paid less than half of it, and you stop paying it. Well, they have a right to repossess it.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty simple.
Don't come and cut the car in half.
Or someone on the other end violates their end of the contract and thus gives you the right to pull out of the contract.
Yes.
And take your assets with you.
Right.
Yeah, like, so say they gave you a lemon. They sold you a lemon. And, it was, how they say, they have a warranty. They have a warranty for so many miles or whatever. And
this part fails, that part fails, and that part fails,
Wait, what are y'all talking about? Y'all lost me.
He's talking about a car.
Warranties, like, there's warranties on cars,
Oh, like contracts there.
We were about to go somewhere else. I went with the car.
But, so let's get back into...
And that really does bring up another question, too, is which we'll get into here in a second, is who, if someone breaks a contract, who enforces the consequences, right? How can we enforce contracts if there isn't a government, right? And that's the eternal question. But before we get there, the last point that we really wanted to sum up with everything is that, of course, you have a right to what we're saying, diet, to medicine, to your thoughts, to your religion, to your conscience, to your time and your labor, your
religious practices, your beliefs, your
body, to modify it, to do what you want with it. All these different things, who you love, who you want to love, who you want to be loved by.
That's pretty much the contract right there.
True. Talked about breaking contracts, all these different things. One thing we didn't discuss is if you may be someone here listening that is still, I don't know, living with somebody else, right?
Oh,
depending.
Yes, you're a dependent.
You're dependent on with your rents or something, whatever.
Or maybe you're supporting your grandparents,
Yeah, they're dependent.
Instead of putting them in a nursing home.
They're dependent. There you go. Yeah. Say you got a child, right? An infant that, obviously a child, those many years of dependency right there. So, say you got an animal. Well, animal is obviously a different equation here, but kind of jumping around. But point being is that once you are dependent on somebody else for whatever the situation may be, say you're disabled, right? There's a lot of people that are, unfortunately, right? They can't maintain themselves because they're disabled in some way. I mean, it's an unfortunate reality of this sinful world, right? So
they are
in
at
that
the
situation
whims of certain.
Right, they are kind of at the whims of whoever is taking care of sustaining them.
Yes,
and by whims we don't mean they have a right to abuse them or slave labor or anything like that. No one has a right to do that or do anything against their will.
It's like a nursing home or something.
Well, against your will is debatable, but because a child may not want to take a bath and you're the parent, or the child may not want to go to school and you're the parent, and may not want to eat the veggies, or
and you're like going to force them.
Well, and that brings up another point. It's like once you're a dependent, how much force does someone have over you?
Yeah,
right. Because if you paid your own bills, if you manage your own life, then yeah, sure, you can put whatever you want in your body, but you suffer the cost and you suffer the consequences. So it's interesting. So that just want to bring that out there, because a lot of times libertarianism, I feel, may be used used by rebellious teenagers in order as a defiance to their parents, and they don't fully realize that, hey,
you're dependent upon your parents.
You're dependent upon your parents still. So
yeah,
I'm just saying, like,
they're going to bear some responsibility when you do some bad stuff too.
Right. Legally, there you go. Legally, they're liable.
The parents are responsible for the
viably liable
of their actions because they're dependent.
Yeah, very true. It's like your pet.
Yes. Your dog shakes off and goes and kills somebody's cat or somebody's dog.
Right, bite someone's kid, God forbid.
They kill the dog and then they hold you accountable for the dog's actions.
Yeah, and the dog got held accountable.
That's why. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, necessarily. I mean, it was a dependent upon you. You were responsible for this creature, for this person, whatever. You were responsible. I mean, it's simple. I mean, people try to pull the cold-heartedness out of all this rhetoric here, out of all this
and the way
jabber here,
and they don't realize that,
and it's not.
Yeah. And it's more cold-hearted when you make someone else bear the responsibility.
Yeah.
Versus you taking it yourself and the person
allowing people to form communities. If people want to mutually share responsibilities and burdens,
that's their choice.
And you're going to have people do that. You're going to have people doing that. Religious folk are very much like that. I'm cool with, you want your own state or your socialist utopia.
you can
Your own
have that
commune. If you
Yeah,
want.
your own commune.
Just don't force it upon the whole country.
Upon anyone. Yeah, upon any individual who doesn't want to.
Yeah, exactly. Upon any psyche.
Yeah.
Any soul.
So any martial soul. Definitely. You know, I mean,
each soul's a world, man. Each soul's a world, and it's no right for one to conquer the other. It is just a travesty of the universe, because you extinguish that potential light of humanity. Think about what that person could have been.
And look,
if the destruction of individualism.
It is.
And if things are really seen as if things are really beneficial to people to come together, commune wise, you know, then they will voluntarily.
And when it's not beneficial,
then
they
won't.
They disassociate.
Yeah, exactly. So if the neighborhood or the street, or you know, the people on the block need a nice paved road, or they don't, maybe they just need a gravel road, you know.
But usually it was the property owners across the street that would maintain the road in front of their house.
Yeah. But I mean, there can even be private.
And with the high-tech people situation world that we live in now.
Oh, yeah. We've got a machine that just lays
There can be
roads.
robots doing it.
They could just be laying bricks.
You seen that? That brick
thing's
road?
sweet.
That are it's just a company that people pay for, and it's really cheap because it's
Like,
a
who's
robot
going to
doing
make the
it.
roads? We've been having this machine. Oh, is that machine government?
Well, it was like in the early 1900s. I believe it was like Iowa, one of the northwestern states. They got out and they voluntarily went out and built the roads. Ended up being the highway.
And you know, there's
Nice.
private highways and private roads.
Well,
Right now.
roads started off private.
Isn't that interesting?
Everything started off private. When you think about
Then
it.
we had to create slavery for the roads.
Yeah, except for slavery and war and bombs.
Yeah,
Those
For the
are
roads.
usually
for the roads.
very public.
It's for the roads, Rick.
Very public.
The roads.
For the
Okay.
children. We need the roads for the children and the taxes for the children.
So yeah,
How are
right.
they gonna get to school, Rick?
So,
Let's not steal from everybody and make a flat place.
Yeah, we just got to have these IRS agents, Agent Fields running around collecting
for the children,
collecting on all these people that are producing.
Extortion for freedom.
Yeah, we just got to tax everyone that's producing, thus, bringing down the incentive for them to produce. Slowly starving us all.
Wait a second.
But it's for the children.
It's for the children.
Sure. So that pretty much wraps up, I think, we were talking as far as individual body rights, right? We pretty much covered it all on that one. That's pretty good.
Yeah, without any notes or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bunch of smart guys.
And of course, there's more examples upon all of them. I mean, right to love. I mean, that includes polygamy, same sex. I mean, everything like that.
Polygamy, I can have three girls.
Not that we're condoning. See, this is defending the undefendable. To use the phrase.
We don't condone doing heroin, but we'll defend your right to do so.
We'll defend your right to do so, and you shouldn't be locked up for doing so.
I don't want to pay for you being locked up. I mean, maybe.
Why should I be paid for that? You should suffer your own consequences. Why should we have to pay for you to suffer your consequences?
You should bear the responsibility instead of getting bailed out.
Or bailed in. Bailed into jail.
Feel the burn. The real burn. Touch the stove and then learn not to touch the stove again.
Oh, yeah. You learn quick.
Yeah.
You learn quick.
You learn real quick. Just like if you didn't have insurance on a car and then you wrecked it and you had to...
Yeah, not only pay for your car, but then you're forced to pay for their car.
Then you might think about getting insurance after that, maybe.
Yeah.
You might see it as a viable.
Yeah, you might be like, wow, that cost me a lot of money.
Yeah.
$30,000. I'm in debt.
And then if you're so slick, maybe you never get in a wreck and you get away with it.
Right? You took that massive risk.
Yeah, you did. But,
But in the society we have now, people can be held liable, ladies and gentlemen. This is the beauty of it all.
This is not the Stone Age. We've got all kinds of technology.
We do have technology, and this, with MasterCard recently announcing biometrics being involved with their cards and all that now. People fear that. People fear biometrics, but
we have the blockchain now.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, right. I fear biometrics as well, so long as we continue to have government. If we continue to have politics in the world,
coercion.
Yes, government, socialism. Then yes, I fear biometrics very much so. If we have a distributed free market society, then I don't fear biometrics at all, because every company is going to do the best that they can to keep their information safe. Because if they don't keep their customers' information
safe, nobody's
going
to want to mess with them.
Yeah, that's why Apple is having the situation they're having now, ladies and gentlemen. Keep up with that one. I mean, Apple is fighting it toe to toe with the FBI,
and they should, and they have the right to. And you know what? The state doesn't have the right to force them to be able to get into the products they create. It's just ridiculous.
Yep, it's just a ploy to break all encryption.
Yeah,
and I think that's initially what they want. Is to get in there and just make it toward to make it illegal to do encryption and just to have the legislation, because they can already get into these phones. I think one article came out said they accidentally erased
McAfee can do it and said he would do it, and he's running libertarian.
And not only or they already have access to the files, guys. I mean, you guys are completely on point with that. No doubt. But think about this. This is the sinister nature of government. These people are admitting to everybody that they completely failed. some of their own employees at the San Bernardino
and they're stealing all our money and they
government county offices was unable to, they're unable to crack their numbers. And yet they fail as an agency, FBI agency, the most advanced, supposedly, Bureau of Investigations in the world, fails at cracking some phones, and no one, absolutely nobody, gets fired. There is no cutting of funding. There is no repercussions. There is only more stimulation called for. What? We need more. We didn't have enough. The budget didn't cover that aspect of things.
It reminds me of the president's...
it's a dog and pony show.
What was the president's birth certificate? It's like, who put that together? Like, you have dunces working for you everywhere? Like, are they really that incompetent, the people in government?
Well, apparently the American people are incompetent, my friend, because
that's what it is.
Because
Who's the incompetent
we ain't catching this one. This is our fault. Who's to blame? And unfortunately, folks, it's the American public. It's ourselves. We need not look further than the mirror.
Who's the ones to blame when your dollar's worth a quarter? The people who voted for the
New World Order.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we really only got to look at the mirror.
At ourselves.
Yeah.
Change starts with yourself. Look in the mirror.
Oh, mirror, mirror on the wall.
Yep.
Who's the statist of them all?
Uh-huh.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
And we are back live. This is Truth Exposed here on the Logos Radio Network. And we do appreciate you for tuning in. Phone lines are still open, 512-646-1984. And we would appreciate it if you do call in. Just no cursing. We cannot afford... We cannot afford to pay any more bills over here. We do need your support. We do need you to go to logosradionetwork.com and help support the transmission any way you can. And we do have a drawing still up.
This is like the spearhead of the resistance in a lot of ways for Texas over here. I mean, Logos Radio Network.
We're going off saying things other people can't say because they're in higher positions and they're going to get...
What do they call them, gag orders or something?
Yeah, something, Oh, we don't want to find out. We don't want to find out, what's up there. We like it right here. We can get away with saying what we want to say.
And you guys got free open lines all the time, and that's the way we love keeping it. It's a community effort, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you don't even have to be bring up what we're talking about. If you've got something else, we're missing or whatever, feel free.
Yeah, I've been curious of what's going on still in Eastern Europe.
Boy.
With Russia.
What's not going on?
A lot of stuff.
World War III.
You guys definitely want to check out logosradionetwork.com. Check out, again, the drawing that they're having. Keeps all these lineup of shows blaring on the airwaves, transmitting constantly 24/7 for your pleasure and your knowledge base. So definitely encourage you guys to support and thank those that have. And, only $25, and you're guaranteed a My Magic Mud, and you're put into the raffle for a Spike Skull lower receiver and a Taurus Curve handgun pistol. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. And go to the website, logosradionetwork.com, and get a good look at them for yourself. I mean, they're very beautiful products right there. And right now is a better time than any to get some Second Amendment type of items, with
open carry coming in.
Yes, sir.
Over here in Texas at the university level. Yeah.
Definitely. And third place also gets you, the Vapor Kit, all about Vapor.
So. No, actually the things they've updated that is 10 winners will receive a $25 gift certificate at All About Vapor.
Oh, wow. What?
As well. So
say what?
And this is till March 7th.
$25 gift certificate at All About Vapor.
That's pretty legit.
Yeah.
Pretty legit. And that is until March 17th, 2016. Definitely help Logos remain transmitting these great lineup of shows that are the resistance in a lot of ways to the New World Order.
Yes, sir.
To the cancer array of vaccines and
the statism,
the hula hoop of laws they have us jump through with
the flaming hula hoops
with Rule of Law, the flagship show. So definitely, guys, can't thank y'all enough, and I can't encourage y'all enough to be part of it and just help us to continue on the airwaves. Again, this goes to none of the shows, to none of the radio
really just to help push keep the transmission going. That's all it is.
There's maintenance costs, there's server costs, there's
people behind the scenes
costs,
busting
time costs.
Yeah. Elbow grease.
So it's definitely a pleasure to be part of this as well as the Truth Exposed radio show. And really brought to you only on Logos Radio Network. I mean, they really gave us the start off. And of course, if you're listening in and got associations with other radio networks or shows, feel free to get in touch with us through our Facebook.
Texas Liberty Radio shares us as well. If you go to TexasLibertyRadio.com.
True that.
Yeah, they've got us on a lineup of.
Yeah, I heard there's an app on the phone that has picked it up.
Yeah, I have a Windows phone, so they don't have any apps for my phone. But if you've got Android, I'm sure they've got an app, or iPhone. They've probably got an app for that, Texas Liberty Radio. So yeah, definitely check them out as well. You can.
Beautiful. Yeah. Check that out for your Droid or your Apple device. Hopefully, it hasn't been cracked in the bad way.
Unless you cracked it.
Yeah, unless you did it.
Yeah.
So we really started to wrap up last segment. Everything to do with self-ownership. Yep. And most people would. I think most people it's pretty solid. I think most people, even commies, even a lot of socialists and commies, would even agree with most of what we said last couple segments concerning
things you have a right to
the body. Concerning the body.
Yeah.
Where there's the debate starts to rise
when it gets to property.
When it gets to external property outside of the body, outside of yourself.
I've heard people say property is oppression. Like,
right? Property is theft.
Yeah, and I'm just like, wow,
that's pretty harsh, right?
Yeah.
Well, so where does property come from? Let's get to the base measure of it.
How can you acquire property?
What are material goods made out of?
Well, let's see, if you have a right to the fruit of your labor, and that is your property, and you exchange that for other property by any other means.
Yeah, but what is property made out of? What are the goods?
People,
goods we have? Our homes, our tables, our.
So your property has been transformed by your own work and your energy.
What are those things made out of?
Energy.
Let's go back further. Well, they're not made out of energy. We can run around in circles all day, and that isn't going to produce property.
Oh no.
Property is essentially broken down matter, right? Broken down, whether it's wood or silicone or rocks and minerals. It's transformed matter. It's transformed, right?
To something useful.
To something useful other than rocks or wood or tree.
People can sell rocks. And they do all the time.
Pet rocks. I think the pet rock is.
No, I mean people buy it for landscaping and stuff.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, bigger rocks. Yeah, for sure. Bigger rocks. Yeah.
Some people buy crack rocks. Yes.
A lot of cracks in rocks. I mean, so you get those gems, those gems and those
geodes.
The geodes, yeah, going on.
I saw a nice 6-foot one that had purple on the inside of the day. Oh man,
dude, you can like cuddle up with those, and they just
cuddle up with the geode.
It feels great with those 6-foot ones. You just
what are you doing cuddle up with geodes?
Yeah, you just cuddle up with that geo. You feel your chakras all aligned.
Let me find out.
I was actually talking about a rock.
I was too. Liar. Let me find out that's your girlfriend's name.
Geo.
That's my car's name.
Oh, okay.
No, but what were we talking about?
Property. Let's get back on the property.
Property.
Well, how do you acquire property?
Okay, so material goods are made out of the earth. That's what I would argue. Whether it's trees, whether it's minerals, whether it's water, whether it's silicone, whether it's all those things, raw iron or melted in order to make steel and
vegetables
grown on the land. All these different things come from the earth. So then the question would have to be, who owns the earth? That would be the first question I would ask in order to understand property is who owns the earth.
Well, I mean, you would say that you own the land that you settle.
Do you own the land under the land?
But who owns the whole earth? Let's get the
whole earth
without getting theological.
Nobody owns the whole earth.
Nobody owns the whole earth. So you know what a socialist would say?
No one person can own the whole earth.
The state owns the earth.
No.
The people.
They would say everyone owns.
Oh, everyone owns.
Everyone owns.
We say the opposite. No one owns it.
We say no one owns it.
No, not one person can own it.
See, they want to transfer the ownership to be collective.
Well, no one owns it. Just because you're born somewhere, just because you go to the moon, doesn't mean you own the moon. Like, no one owns that. And just because we have the moon,
I put a flag on there
flying above us, doesn't mean everyone
comes over and takes it from me.
Doesn't mean everyone owns it.
Dude, I think the moon's flat.
And let's explain. Well, I don't know about that.
I'm just messing with people.
Cutting exposed.
Yeah, cutting exposed.
The moon ain't flat.
Yeah. There's an edge of it, I promise. Don't fall off the edge, Cuddy. That's why they won't go back.
Right. So let's really highlight why it's so crucial to distinguish the difference between no one owning the earth versus everyone owning the earth. Well, if no one owns the earth, right, and again you till a piece of land and you put a house on it, well then
you don't have to pay anyone.
Well, like we just explained. You just explained, time and energy. You transformed it. You own that. Period. If no one owns it,
homesteading.
If no one owns the earth, then the homesteading principle of property, we encourage you guys to check out John Locke, is legitimate. If everyone owns it,
then homesteading isn't legitimate.
It's
and
not
someone else owns it. The collective owns it.
Why? Because you have to ask everyone's permission no matter what the vicinity may be, whether it's local, state, or national, or global. You got to ask everybody whether you can build your house and your farm there on some unplotted piece of land, because everyone owns a piece of land, right?
And that's what's going on right now. You've got to have all kinds of licenses to build stuff. You got to have a license to build a skateboard ramp. I mean, get out of here.
And it always gets left to bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Coming up on a break, people.
Truth Exposed. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
I only have eyes for you. Soon, store mannequins may be singing that tune. They're being outfitted with cameras to watch us while we shop. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, back with details after this.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This message is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
It's disturbing enough that Big Brother governments use facial recognition technology to identify and track people on the streets. Now clothing companies in Europe, Canada, and America are getting in on the act. So where do they hide the cameras? In the eyes of mannequins. That's right, those glamorous plastic ladies in the display windows may be watching you back. They're called eye seers, and their job is to log the age, gender, and race of passersby, so retailers can devise new schemes to get you to buy. But hang on, aren't mannequins spooky enough already? This is taking weird science to a whole new level. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht for StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine.
Actually be kidding about chemtrails.
You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at logosradionetwork.com.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio here, live again this lovely Wednesday, February 24th, 2016. Feel free to call in 512-646-1984. Rick Rhodey here.
Cuddy Rope.
Marshall Soul.
And we just been breaking down here systematically and slightly haphazardly, because, you know, it's like we ain't got the academics. You know, we ain't got the suit and tie on. We ain't got the projector screen.
It's good to go to a layman breakdown of it, too. That way we can all comprehend it and understand it.
Very true.
Hey, man, and if you don't understand, do feel free and just
ask questions.
Ask questions. I mean, I didn't come to these understandings without questioning every single aspect of it. We don't expect everyone to just.
Your perspective is always changing based upon the information you come across.
Yes,
right. Can't stress it enough. Don't mean to repeat the educators, but there's no dumb question. There's no dumb question, and so long as you're sincerely seeking the truth, I don't think anyone's going to judge you if you're sincere. It's only when people become arrogant and people become arrogant in their ignorance that people start judging you. You know what I'm saying? That's when people start, really start, criticizing within any kind of enlightened person is going to start criticizing somebody or start analyzing somebody negatively. It's when they're so stubborn in their errors that they can't even or are willing to even see the light.
Yeah, closed-mindedness.
Yeah. No, I know everything. This
cognitive dissonance. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So we were just briefly discussing the key difference between no one owning and everything, and everyone owning the planet, no one owning it and everyone owning it, and how the socialists, will be inclined to say that everyone owns it, while the capitalists will be inclined to say that no one owns it.
If you say that everyone owns it, well, then you need to create a bureaucracy that regulates everybody else.
The distribution of it.
The distribution of it, and thus the regulation of what everybody can do, since everybody now has to say what goes on and everywhere. So
now everyone's a slave to everyone.
Yep, you're enslaving yourself.
But it's okay, see, because everybody is enslaved to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and a socialist in a commie wouldn't agree if we were to say that everyone owned yourself, and what we just talked about as far as the rights concerning your own self-ownership. No one would say, well, you have to ask everyone's permission whether or not you can self-medicate yourself or what you can eat.
They'd be liberal on that.
Yeah, they'd be very liberal on that, right? Getting back to the definitions of what liberal and conservative is.
Not property.
But not when it comes to property. They're very very conservative, in fact.
Yeah.
Right? The king owns the property, and the king decides who has what property and how much they should get.
I thought they were against the bourgeois.
I thought so too.
I know, me too. I just don't get it.
And what I don't get either is people that call themselves conservative or right wingers and yet they stand for somewhat quasi-liberty, like this haphazard liberty stance. You know, how can you call yourself a conservative and a liberal, like, or you're fighting liberals, you know, conservative fighting liberals, when what are you trying to conserve here? If you're trying to conserve the Constitution, do you realize the Constitution is a liberal document?
Well, and that also depends on which kind of liberals you're fighting, too, because there's like neoliberals and there's the classical liberal, because liberal today is not what liberal of, you know.
Well, I would argue liberal in America is not what liberal is in the rest of political philosophy. America is the only reason America is a flipped coin is because our Constitution in itself is a somewhat, almost a fully liberal document, except for the taxes and the borders and the, you know, the government and all this.
Except for the government. Except for
government as a whole.
Yeah, it is mainly though a liberal document. We do have
right. I mean, freedom. I mean, all the 10 Amendments. Those are liberal concepts. So in our political spectrum, in America's little, you know, world of politics, to be a conservative means to want to conserve the Constitution, which is mostly a liberal document, which will actually make you mostly a liberal, except for certain aspects. Now, for liberals in our American culture, in our American political scheme, they want to change the Constitution to nullify those Bill of Rights, if you will, and that's what I guess is called a liberal in today's society. Unless you're George Bush and you're trying to protect America from the terrorists, then then it's okay for you to stomp on the 10th, you know, on all the amendments, the 10 amendments, and it's not a big deal, you know, because it's for national security reasons, of course, you know, for your safety, for your safety,
children,
for the kids, for Merkel, see.
So a liberal would typically want to change that. So in that aspect, George Bush was acting very liberally when it came to his application of the Constitution, which is a liberal document, which would make him a conservative, right? Which would make him a conservative, because if you're going against a liberal document, right, that guarantees privacy, that guarantees the due process of law, of justice, to go against that actually makes you a conservative, a hardcore conservative, right? And so he wasn't lying. He wasn't lying where he came from. Who is lying is Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. They're lying. They are not liberals.
Yeah.
They're not, well, sure, they're progressivists in the sense of the political scheme, but the word, they're not really progressive. Conservatism isn't progressivism. Centralization of power, having a dictator, whether it's big sister or big brother, running and distributing all property, isn't liberal. That's very much a centralist conservative ideology, because the king and those in power are ordained, whether by God or evolution or the Pope or whoever, to control such powers. I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd.
Yeah, can't argue there.
Yeah, I know. I'm over here just like, yes, sir. Yep.
I'm tired of it.
Preaching the choir.
Yeah.
Hey, when we can start singing hymns?
Oh, America. Oh, America. America. All the words. Dude, I did that whole thing the other day.
Oh, man. That's a lot of lines.
We went off, what is it? We went with the high, the low, the tempo,
we even finished it, dude.
What?
It was
y'all over here
Sonata,
recording hymns without me?
Yep.
That's messed up, man. That's messed up.
Iguana.
Oh.
Down in Kokomo, whatever.
So, Aruba, Jamaica.
Can't say anymore. Copyright infringement.
Yeah, the Leech Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, have Sanders coming out on that one.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But Sanders didn't come out in Nevada, did he?
No, he didn't. Trump did. It may be Trump and Hillary, but a lot of Democrats are going to be pissed. And if Hillary even gets a nomination, it's going to be one of those force-it-throughs. So, which they did do with Ron Paul. They did do with Ron Paul twice. We're talking about Granddaddy, Big Papi, Ron Paul.
Yeah. I wonder if Hillary gets in, if those disgruntled Democrats will go libertarian.
Nah.
Or those disgruntled Republicans that don't like Trump
will go Bernie Sanders
or libertarian.
Go Bernie Sanders, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, we're not cutting on you, Chris. No, I mean, hey, if you're gonna, I mean, Bernie Sanders isn't. I mean, if you're gonna believe in politics, right? If you're gonna believe in it, like if you're gonna vote, in other words, I don't know. I would probably go. I mean, I would go third party, but say I didn't believe in third party either. I thought we had to pick one way or the other because there's only going to be one or the other winner. I don't know. I may go. I mean, I would probably be lenient towards Sanders only because
the House is controlled by Republicans. I think you'd be able to get away with less.
Very good point there.
That's all I would say. That's my point. Like if you would say Sanders, it's like he's not going to be able to get away with anything. The Republicans.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, with Trump's plan to get out illegal immigrants, to get out illegal immigrants, ladies and gentlemen, mark our words here. Mark our words here. We're going to have to fully put into operation Rex 84.
Yeah,
almost
they
FEMA
would-
camps,
slave
and processing
labor.
centers.
Slave labor. They're gonna have to force us to do the stuff that people are coming over here to do.
That would be unfolding of the executive orders and the Army program Rex 84 that's already been set in this place. And it could justify just as they did with the Japanese during World War II along the
And how
East Coast.
right? And how are they
I mean,
going to know
West Coast,
who's illegal and who's not unless they have a national ID card?
There you
which,
go.
Which double checks your biometrics.
They're bringing
and
it on.
double checks your social security and your birth certificate.
They're already trying to introduce that.
Come on now,
we
wake
saw
up,
that,
America.
I think after the San Bernardino thing or something. Or no. What was the other Muslim terrorist attack or whatever? They're saying, oh, well, now we need national ID, so we biometrics everybody.
Oh yeah, let's bring in all these refugees and then oh my gosh, we need biometrics.
Yeah, we need
now.
to track and trace every single one of them.
Yeah, come on now, which includes you, especially you.
Problem reaction solution. Right
Take
in your
the
face.
chip.
Yeah.
Again in dialect. Coming on a break, ladies and gentlemen.
Stay tuned.
Easy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio, right here on the Logos Radio Network, February 24th, 2016.
Coming in heavy with the casualties.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Take me back to my teenage years.
In the mosh pit, the circle pit.
So where were we at? We were just cracking into this private property, huh?
Just barely cracking on in, man.
Scratching the surface a little bit.
Guys and gals.
We're tilling the land.
Yeah, telling the thoughts over here. The brain wrinkles.
Start planting some seeds and watering it and watch it grow. Freedom, not statism. Freedom.
Freedoms.
Freedoms.
I waters my freedoms with the waters of liberty.
Yeah. So we really have so much more to cover because when we get into property, it entails so much more. I mean, it really does. We start getting into the free market, the exchange, and the distribution rather of property, the exchange and distribution of property, and how that takes place. And that's a whole free market analysis, which we're going to get into next week. Let's start breaking that down because we're moving on. We're moving from individual rights to property. But
because they're an extension.
They are an extension. But for this last segment here, let's really solidify this. Let's really solidify this point. Again, if everyone owned the earth, even just a tree that you would have to cut down for your own,
you'd have to get
for your own heat and warmth.
There'd almost have to be a petition to allow you to.
And who's going to run all those petitions? And who's going to count all the votes? And who's going to?
Those are jobs, Rick. Those are jobs.
Hey, job creation.
That's government creating jobs that they force everybody to pay for it too. You have to pay for those services now.
If it wasn't for these services, you guys would be cutting each other's heads off.
If it wasn't for these services, y'all wouldn't have jobs.
Yeah, if there wasn't for government, there'd be no jobs.
There'd be no jobs.
There'd be no jobs.
The robots would take all the jobs because the capitalists would want to take over everything.
I don't think there'd be anything to buy if none of us had any jobs. Duh.
And there's so many. Oh my Lord!
It's like this. It's like the cycle of life, man. It's
a worldview.
It's nature, bro.
It's almost like a worldview. It's almost like I see this type of, and I know that's something that we haven't gone into as far as a show, the debate between intelligent design and evolution. But it's almost like that type of line in the sand where if you're one side or the other, there's no change in you.
There's no debate. There's no reason.
There's no reason then. I mean, and I'm not trying to associate, one with the other, or the other one with the other, but with another. But it's just it's that the ideological lines are drawn that deep. They go pretty deep when it comes to that. So either you see property as being the ultimate evil in society.
And some people do. They see it as oppression.
They seeing it as the cause of oppression, of suffering.
I mean, it just makes me scratch my head like really hard. Like,
yeah, I think we would be suffering a lot more if I wasn't having to be barren in the wilderness, no clothes, no food, no shelter.
Yeah,
I think I would be suffering a lot more than.
So the caveman didn't own the cave, bruh.
Yeah, right.
All the cave people did.
Well, and that's another point. And that's another point too. The inability for enforcement. That's when when the law is made up, right? When it's almost impossible, nearly impossible, unless you have the all-seeing eye.
When you can't enforce it and people are still doing it, is it really a law that's illegal? Or is it just something that they only want to impose whenever they have the need to, when they need to shake you down for some money?
For some money to keep that job growth going.
The moolah. Definitely. I mean, parasite class.
Yeah. So giving some examples of the things that we have talked about, because we're going to leave property where we left it at. But giving some examples of the things we have talked about already, as we mentioned, polygamy and same-sex marriage would, even though theologically, of course, if you're going to ask my theological position or even my naturalist position on that, of course, men and women are the only, that union can, that's the only thing that can create life.
Well, you're not trying to force that upon people.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously, biologically, that's the only thing that can create life. There's no debating that. So, but it's not for me to decide who can love who. It's really not. We talked about that. But so when it comes to contract, minimum wage laws, ladies and gentlemen, right? If someone wants to contract themselves out for $5, $7 an hour,
$2
$6 an hour, $2, $3, whatever they want to voluntarily come to agreements with, who are you, Mr. Bureaucrat, to tell them they can't?
Why can't you volunteer? Like, there's volunteers right now just doing stuff for free.
Yeah, you volunteer to come over and fix something to somebody's house or to come help them do something. And say, hey, or they say, hey, come over here and fix this for me, and I'll take you out to dinner or whatever.
Have you ever seen what happens when people try to go and voluntarily feed the homeless?
Oh yeah, you've seen that.
People get arrested.
So much regulation on that. You didn't pay your license to process that food, Cuddy.
I didn't pay
to put sandwiches on bag, put mayonnaise and mustard on.
You gotta make sure that you know the health code and you know all the regulations,
exactly.
that you're not getting serving contaminated foods. Like, well, at this point, I don't really think they care what kind, if it's contaminated.
They're kind of dependent.
They're kind of hungry, and if they're coming back for more, obviously it's good.
They're kind of dependent, yeah, and they can have their choice though if they want to eat the jelly sandwich.
And we act as if like, okay, well then the answer to this would be like, well, if you pay your license, that ensures that everything's good. But it doesn't really not.
I go get a license and then I can go.
You're good for 2 years and there is no inspector. You're just giving up money.
They give you a paper inspection. I've seen it for the food trucks and the people who start the little food businesses. I've seen it. Even though if you want to have a lemonade stand or a brownie stand or the Girl Scout cookie thing, they get a little inspection.
So what are things that we would automatically have contention with? As far as being a waste of money, of my money, why should I have to be paid forced to pay for the control and the regulation of other people's diet, other people's medication
it's their
intake,
choice as well,
other people's contracts
to regulate themselves. No one's forced to come and buy my
other people's contracts. Yeah, exactly. Other people's marriages, other people's whatever. Why should I have to be forced to partake in that? Why should I be forced to pay for that?
Rick's not down with OPPV. Other people's property.
Not being forced to.
When are we going to learn?
After we feel the burn.
After we feel the burn, right?
Yeah.
Right. So really, we talked about minimum wage laws. The whole drug war is really a falsehood there, because let's get into that.
They'll come take your property if you got some plants on it.
First of all, you got right to put whatever you want in your body because it's your body. Either you're going to agree with that or not. Period. It doesn't matter. Now, if you do something wrong as a result of ingesting something that made you go crazy,
well, then you did something wrong.
And
those are your actions.
You deserve consequences as a result. You have to pay repercussions. There is restitution to be made.
There's parents right now have kids, take care of them. They drink on occasion, do nothing to their kids. Then there's people who drink and then they beat their kids. Well, it's not the drinking; it's they beat their kids.
It's the beating part that's the aggression part. Yeah.
Let's not blame inanimate things,
movies, video games, music. Tools, substances, tools.
You hold persons accountable for their actions.
Yes, and that's a core tenet of owning your body.
Exactly.
What you do with your time,
you own your actions. Your actions are your property.
And if we really take what they are promoting and pushing to the extent, then nobody's even in control of themselves. Right. No one's to blame.
So who's in control?
Everybody.
Big sister, big brother.
Yeah. The collective, I guess.
The collective, which is represented by the state, the real bourgeois, the political class,
the oligarchy,
the real oligarchy, the political class, not even the rich. Well, granted, the rich is with the Federal Reserve.
Bernie Sanders ain't that rich? He's in there pulling strings.
He's just a puppet, man. He's on the strings.
Yeah, he's gonna get some free stuff though, I'm sure.
Yeah. So many things. We talked about euthanasia, voluntary euthanasia, right? Yeah. The right to annual body modifications. So long as you're paying for it, it's really not your business what someone does to their body with a doctor or with a plastic surgeon. It's none of your business.
I mean, you've seen those guys that look like devils. They got like the things put in their heads.
Right. Look like cats or whatever.
The crazy eyes and their tongue cut in half.
Whiskers and the
fangs and tattoos all over their face. And man, they tattoo their eyeballs now. I mean, they got crazy stuff.
Oh. Hey, couldn't do that one.
That's pretty ugly, man.
To each their own.
Yeah, that's your choice, bro.
Yeah.
And I don't even have to let you in my restaurant if I don't want to.
Yeah, you have a right to refuse service to anybody.
Well, and that one gets into property. Yeah. That one gets into property. Do you have the right to exclude people from your property? Which we're definitely going to get into. Definitely going to get into some more.
And those have been in the past. The baking the cakes and the blah blah blahs. Whatever.
public accommodation, so-called.
You can still get your ISIS and Al-Qaeda cakes.
Public accommodation. When's it end? Yeah. If you don't want to offer a ramp for disabled people, well, then
disabled people aren't going to
go to your place. And people that support disabled people aren't going to go to your place because you're not considerate enough to do so.
Yeah.
If you know,
or there are going to be those that say,
well, that's pretty good. I'll go walk in there for the disabled person. I mean, if it's that good.
And there's a disabled person that may like it so much, he may get,
transhumanistic legs and walk up in there.
Yeah,
this does do good.
If it wasn't for this place, I would have gotten legs.
Allow capitalism to do what it does.
Yeah.
And innovate, and then
stop acting like people need the state to be reasonable. I mean, you don't need the state to force people to do things that are good, and if it's so good, they don't have to be forced.
And that really gets into another topic that we're going to break down next show, ladies and gentlemen, is the enforcement of these contracts, of these agreements.
How will they be upheld? The
enforcement of property rights. How are we going to keep these things in line? What is property rights? What is the market? All these different things. What is money? We got so much to cover. This introduction into, true philosophy of
true freedom, true
individual liberty.
Yeah,
individual liberty, exactly, of liberté. So
liberté.
Libertas. Laissez Cafe.
You respect my libertin.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, and it's really once you start to go through these, simple steps, and then you start to see the whole thing is a sham and everything's being forced upon us, and it's not legitimate.
Totally not. So highly encourage y'all to check out those principles we're bringing out. Highly encourage y'all to really contemplate them, analyze them, and if you agree with them, stand up for them, get yourself informed on them.
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's get them out there. So do appreciate it. This has been Truth Exposed Radio. We got the crypto show coming up next.
Definitely stay tuned for that.
Logos Radio Network. We appreciate the help.
Laissez-faire.